All right, today I want to show you guys how to go through and do a patent search using the United States Patent and Trademark Office.gov. You can see that in the assignment that is got a blue link right here. What we're looking for is we're looking for building blocks or toy blocks similar and somewhat related to our project here. One of the things you have to understand is if you are looking at creating and designing something new, a good part of that prudence is to go through the process and making sure that somebody else hasn't already invented it. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to do a patent search and see if what we can find when we start looking at toy blocks. Obviously we're working on our castle project, but we want to see what's out there. And just in case we come across that, we know whether it's already designed by somebody else or maybe it's nothing that's patented and we can go ahead and use it. So if you click on the USPTO.gov on here, it jumps you to the site here, USPTO.gov, which is the United States Patent and Trademark Office. This is where they store all the patents that have been approved. And approved meaning they've gone through inspection and there are no other patents like that. A patent is a device, a document that gives you the as the original owner or designer the full rights to the protections of the design that you've created. Or if it's a trademark, let's say like the Coca-Cola trademark or the little swoosh for Nike, those are all patented and protected, so people just can't imitate and copy and use those and make money off your intellectual rights. So that's what the United States Patent and Trademark Office does: is they look at your designs, things that you have created, and protect those from obviously other people using them illegally. So we get to the site here. We were looking at patents today. So if we go here to the patents tab, you can see that we got lots of different ways of going through the process. I'm going to go ahead and tell them no thanks. Um, Now what we want to go through is take a look at and do a patent search. So you can come down here to patent searches. And in the patent search area here, they've got all sorts of different things to go through that you can go ahead and click and learn and spend tons and tons and tons of hours. We're going to come down to searching patents text. And you can see this is since 1976. So if somebody patented wooden blocks before 1976, it's not going to come up in this particular area. We'd have to maybe do a different type of search, but we're going to go ahead and do that patent search process. Now, if we happen to know the image or the numbers or whatever, we can search for patents, especially if we know the number, all the way back to 1790. So you start thinking about how old our country is. We filed our Declaration of Independence in 1776. So looking at this 14 years later, we have patents or intellectual rights that go all the way back to that particular date. So think about all the things that have been invented in the last 200 plus years in the United States, and people wanted to protect those rights, the designs that they created. This is where they did this in the patent office. But we're going to go ahead and do a quick search. So I'm going to click on the quick search link. Right here, you can see it says query, meaning I need to look for something. We're going to inquire into something. And I'm just going to type in here blocks, building blocks. And the second term I'm going to type in is just toy because I'm actually looking for something that has to do with toy blocks. It's going to take those two terms. It's going to go out into the information highway out there for United States patents and actually look and see if any of those two terms pop up in the process. So this might take a couple seconds going through here. As you can see, the results of searching for blocks and toy, there's 7,972 patents. So we start looking at people that specialize in working with patents. Part of their process is going in and understanding and knowing the patent office and where to look and how to look and so forth. So when you're looking at inventing and creating and making that patent to protect your intellectual rights, there's companies out here that do this process to help you along. And that's why, when people ask me, hey, how much does it cost to, create and complete a patent and patent something in the United States Patent Office? I tell them it's in the tens of thousands of dollars. I would imagine be at least $10,000. Sounds like a lot of money, but you're looking at the process of taking something and protecting it, and it could be $1 million design. We don't know, but we have to make sure that we're not copying somebody else's intellectual rights. So here we go. You can see it says 1 through 50, next 50. So literally, you're searching through, and you're coming through the process and trying to find out what's in here and what seems like it might be similar to what you're looking for. You can see that we got composition stuff here. We got modular structures. Think about Legos. Those are modular structures. That could be one of the patents for Legos. I don't know. We didn't look into it. But camera wall plates and security cameras, there's all sorts of stuff when you look through here. But as we get down here, you can see I already clicked on this before, building and toy. I've got toy building here, which might be very close to what I'm looking for. So let's take a peek at this particular patent. And what comes up is a lot of information that you'd have to read through. In other words, going through this process, the abstract is going to give you kind of an idea of what's going on with the invention or the design and what it basically does. It's an abstract. It's a short, paragraph on tied into whatever the design is. You can see that we look at the inventor, Mark Donahoe from St. Louis is listed on here. And again, you can look at the application number, the filing date, and this was January 22nd of 2019. Now, I can't tell you this is the original or refiling, whatever, but as we go through the process and looking down through here, you can see that there's several applications. So he's gone through and done a number of different patents. But what I kind of do is as you go down through and look at some of the reference sites, you can see that some of the stuff goes back, like for instance, this one here, 1922. So, I mean, if you want to go ahead and search back in some of these older documents that ties to that, it'll get you back further in as you're looking. It says there's no text available. We look at images, it may give us an image of something that was similar. Well, look at that. I don't know if you guys can see and understand what this kind of looks like, but I look at this thing, oh, that's kind of like a stick log, a toy stick log. Looks kind of like Lincoln logs, so to speak. And again, the original designer, you can see they got a couple of notches here in the tenon, a couple of dados. And the patent that this was building blocks for school purposes. The application was filed in February of 1921. So we look at the toy Lincoln log type of stuff. Here's one patent for a particular type of design way back from that time. And that was a related search. So when we go through that process, oh, looks like it jumped us out here. Let's back up. And there is my toy building thing that we're looking at. If we look at this particular one that's filed by this person and click on images, this is what I want you to do. Click on the images. What I want is just a printout of what you found that is somewhat related to toy blocks. And it can be a number of different things. I never expect this to be the same from one person to the next. But if you look in here under this patent by Donahue, and again, it says dated patent, January 5th, 2021. So it might be a patent or a patent application to recertify the patent. We come down through and take a look, you can see that this person is looking at the square style of Lincoln logs. If you play with Lincoln logs, I can think of years ago when I was a kid, that was something that we played with. So this is the abstract of this particular search. And this is what I want. So when you look at, hey, Mr. Hammond, how far am I, what do I need to print out? I don't want you to go into the full page document. Now, if you go into the full page document, the first thing you have to understand is we have 75 pages. I don't want 75 pages. I just want the front page. The front page has the patent number information on there, has the abstract number on there, and you can see here it has the original kind of drawing of what's happening. 75 pages of this particular document for a patent, as you page down through, has some of the other reference sightings, and we peeked at one of them earlier. But as you go through, you can see that here's some of the designs for those Lincoln logs, so to speak, that this person has designed and set up. And there again, it's really a new patent, but this is an old design. So like I said, I'm assuming that this is probably the company that makes Lincoln logs is protecting this patent still at this point in time. And this again could be 70, 80, 100 years later, depending upon when things were created. And you can see here the gable roof structure here. And the patent has to encompass, in this case, the whole entire kit. So there again, we start looking at other things that are referenced with numbers and so forth and how it's designed. And you can see as you go through, here's the slats for the roof. If you ever played with Lincoln logs like I did when I was a kid, we have video games. These are the things, this is one of the toys that I played with. And you can see a lot of the stuff's in there. So there's a ton of stuff in here, but again, there's 75 pages. We're on page 10. All I want is the top page. So if you happen to go to full pages, all I want is the top page. Otherwise, if you didn't go to full pages, it's just going to give you the abstract page, which is this first one that we're looking at. So at this point, how do we complete this assignment? I did my patent search. I found a toy building block that looks acceptable and somewhat kind of like what we're doing. And I just want to take and print this out to say, Mr. Hammond, I did a patent search, so I kind of know how to do this. So at this point in time, we're looking at printing and saving this. The easiest way to do that is simply right-click on a document and go to print. At this point up here in the destination, it'll probably pop into, if you're working off the Chromebook, it may give you some options for Chromebook. I always tell students, use the save as PDF, and that way it'll save that front page or the page as a PDF. Now this, since we were looking at the full pages of 75 pages, this you could see we could page down through and it's got everything in there. I don't want a print of all that. I just want one. So on the pages, instead of having all, go to custom and then just type in there, I just want page one. Now the only thing it's going to print over here is just this first page. That's all I want. At this point, you can go ahead and save that. And I'm going to go ahead and click save. I'm going to ask, where do you want to put it? Now right here, it's got the US patent number or reference number here. That is gibberish to me. I don't know what that is. But if you change this and type it in and say, oh, I don't know, Hammond, like your last name, and then patent search, that'll tell me who it is, and then that's the patent search, document. Now I'm just going to go ahead and place it on my desktop. If you want to place it in your drive location, which hopefully if you're at school, you'll want to do that, you'll have to look on your machine and it should say something like your name or your last name, first name, initial and stuff. And that should pop up underneath the on this PC stuff. On my PC here, you can see I'm actually within the system, but I have my G drive as one of my options. The apps cache O drive, remember we pull documents off of there, and there's a staff share drive. So the way this looks to me is a little bit different from my options for you. But locate this, put this on your in your file location, hopefully with your project that you're working on here with the building blocks. I would just put it in that folder with the rest of them, and then save your patent. So I'm going to go ahead and again, I've got it on the desktop here. I'm just going to plop it out so I can find it pretty easy. And I'm going to save that. What I want you now to do is hand that in and hand it in through Canvas. So when you look at your Canvas location stuff, there's that U.S. Patent Office government thing. We just found that, and then you have the submission button. Click on your submission button, and then just find that document and send it in to me, and I'll take a peek at it. It'll come in a PDF format. I'll see that, and again, I can grade that that you completed your patent search. So that's how to use the United States Patent and Trademark Office, kind of in a nutshell. That's how easy the search can take, about 10 minutes. Easy to do. But again, we want you to get kind of familiar with the process if you have to look for a patent or patent concerns that tied to or potentially tied to your design or whatever you've invented. That's one of the steps that has to happen is has somebody already invented it, and you might have come up with the same great idea a half hour later, or 30 years later. So those processes have to be filed on our patent office.